What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Girl Who Talks Sports, the podcast where we talk sports and other girly things. I am Sam Cardona, and if you're watching on the YouTube video right now, please do not make fun of my sunburn. I was outside on Labor Day, and it's very itchy. So please do not make any remarks on it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. I'm really excited for this week's episode. We do have a guest this week, which I'm very excited to talk to her, Brenda Ingargiola. She is a photographer for the Las Vegas Silver Stars, and that is a professional women's football team. So I'm really excited to get into our interview with Brenda. She was gracious enough to reschedule. Thank you so much, Brenda. It was very helpful for me. So I'm very excited to show you guys the interview with Brenda, which is really great. And the rest of this episode is just game picks for NFL Week 1 because it's going to take up a lot of time. So I'm really excited to get into all of that. But before we do, plugs as usual. Don't forget to subscribe to all podcasts on all podcasts on all podcasting platforms, wherever it is that you can get The Girl Who Talks Sports. Please subscribe and leave a review. That's very helpful for me. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're watching on the video right now, just scroll down just a little, press a little thumbs up, press the little like button. That's really helpful. And make sure that you turn on notifications to get updated every time I upload a new video, because I will be putting out a YouTube video sometime this week before Sunday, giving you division winners of every single division in the NFL, who I think is going to win, who I think is going to be complete bust. So make sure that you turn the little bell on, because then you'll get notified every time I upload a video, so you won't miss the divisions for the NFL that I'm going to be choosing to be the winners this year. So make sure you do that. And of course, social media. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at TGWTS Podcast. I suggest follow me on Twitter if you'd like to see me freak out this Sunday, because I will be on Twitter basically all day, live tweeting for hours and hours and hours about NFL Red Zone, all the games going on, everything that's happening. Super, super exciting. So if you'd like to see that unfold, I would suggest follow me on Twitter. And you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at The Girl Who Talks Sports. And that is it. So before we get into our game picks for week 1, please hear just a quick little word from Buzzsprout. I know one of the best decisions I've ever made was to start this podcast. And I'm sure some of you have thought about starting one as well. But the question is always, where do you start? Buzzsprout is the best and easiest way to start your own professional podcast. They've already helped over 100,000 people launch their own podcast, including myself. They can get your podcast on every major podcasting platform. They provide you with your very own podcasting website, audio players to drop in other websites, detailed analytics, tools to promote your episodes, and so much more. Buzzsprout also publishes new blog posts, podcast episodes, and YouTube videos every week. To start your very own podcast and get a free, yes, a free $20 Amazon gift card, click the link in the show notes. Buzzsprout will know that you were sent by me, the girl who talks sports, and help support the show. Buzzsprout, the easiest way to start a podcast. All right, guys, let's get into game picks for NFL Week 1. I have been waiting so long to do this. I'm so excited for it. We're going into every single game, starting with Thursday Night Football, Dallas at Tampa Bay. Cowboys v. reigning champs of the Tampa Bay Bucaneers. And I'm just going to say right now that everyone should think that Tampa's going to win. That's just the bottom line here. It's just what's really going to be important is how much is Tampa Bay going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. So I have the Bucs over the Cowboys. I have them winning 28-17. And like I said, it's just going to be how bad do the Cowboys lose to the Buccaneers. And the reason I say this, a lot of people would, say like, well, you're biased. You're a Giants fan, blah, 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 blah. I am, but also I have been watching Hard Knocks for the past 5 weeks. And what I've been seeing watching Hard Knocks and the Dallas Cowboys is not only is Dak Prescott coming back from an injury, now he's tweaked his shoulder. Jerry Jones is saying everything is okay, but I really think everything is not okay. So, and the Cowboys also didn't win any preseason games. So what I'm thinking is, like, Dak is really fragile still, and while he's going to want to come back with, like, a vengeance, it's not going to be a good look. So what I'm saying is we'll see what Dak ends up playing like, especially against this Bucs defense, which we saw them in the Super Bowl. We saw the Buccaneers defense in the Super Bowl versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes literally ran for 500 yards just scrambling. So it's going to be a big test. And again, it's going to, if they, I have them winning, by 11 points here. I have the Bucs winning 28-17. So if I think that it's going to be that low, my expectations for the Cowboys are quite low. But, maybe they'll really put on a performance and Dak will kind of show up. Zeke will show up, not fumble the ball that much, and put more points on the board, kind of showing, yes, we lost in our in our first opening game, but maybe they'll win, or lose rather, like 28-21, like one touchdown or by a field goal or something like that. I think that's going to be really important. The Buccaneers have all of the same starters. That's, as everybody knows. So we're going to be looking for, with the Buccaneers, what is different, if there's going to be anything different within this Buccaneers team. Because with every single, this has never been done before, with every single person coming back, we are going to have to look for not only the similarities to last year, but how they have now changed and improved themselves with the same people. So I think that that's going to be very important to look at. And that is our very first NFL game that we have for the 2021-2022 season. So that's Thursday. So let's get into the Sunday games. We are going to do Colts and Seahawks. Seahawks at Colts. And I have the Seahawks winning in a very close margin of 27-24. Now, Carson Wentz is coming off of an injury, and he's with a new team. And while he's very comfortable with his head coach, Frank Reich, I think that there is a lot of adjusting to happen here. Carson Wentz had to undergo foot surgery this offseason, right? He had to get a bone removed from his foot or something like that. Now, he came back after 3 weeks. 3 weeks. They gave him 5 to 12. He came back after 3. And in my head, I'm thinking he's trying to push himself. He's trying to get out as fast as possible. He doesn't want the Indianapolis Colts to think that he is this man made of glass, which is unfortunate because he is. And what I genuinely think, and I'll talk about it a bit in my YouTube video this week going into the divisions, because I don't have the Colts winning their division, is because I genuinely think Carson Wentz is going to get hurt again. I don't think he'll get hurt in this game, but an important thing to remember is that T.Y. Hilton is on IR for the Colts, so that is a major part of this offense that is missing. It's a big blow. I think a lot of people are putting faith into Carson Wentz that while he is a pretty good quarterback, I just don't see all of the hype. I don't know. I think that people are putting a lot of pressure, a lot of faith in Carson to be this amazing player again, but I just don't see it happening. And again, the Colts, it is a different team than Philadelphia. It's very, very different. And again, he's comfortable with his head coach, Frank Reich, but this injury history is holding way too much over him. So while I think that the Colts are going to be a better team than they were, I don't think that they are going to be as good as everyone thinks they're going to be, and I don't know if Carson Wentz is going to be able to hold on for the entire season, which is why they had that conditional pick when they traded him. He has to play 70% of the snaps in order for the Eagles to get a conditional first-round pick. So I think that that's important to remember, that even they think Carson might not make it all the way through. In terms of the Seahawks, I personally think the Seahawks are on a bit of a decline, and I don't think it's because of Russell Wilson. I think it's because of Pete Carroll. And I think that there's just no change happening, and they're not bad, but they're not that Seahawks team that we knew when they were making their Super Bowl run. So this is going to be close because I don't know if the Colts are at the level everyone thinks they are, and I don't think that the Seahawks are at the level they always used to be, which is why I have it down to a literal field goal, so 27-24. A quick little stat that I have about Russell Wilson is that he had 7 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes of the half for the 2020 season. So he can do fairly well in his big, powerful drives with all of this pressure. Like, he can get a score on the board. But that's in the last 2 minutes of the half. So if they are down, it's possible that Carson can get them onto the board. Russ can get them onto the board and get them up before the half is over, before the game is over. So I think that that is important to remember. So that's Seahawks at Colts. Next on the list here, I have Jaguars at Texans. And I think that this is going to be very low scoring. I have the Jaguars over the Texans 17-7. This is the best week 1 opponent that Jacksonville could have ever asked for, because the Texans are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. I mean, the decline started way back to when Bill O'Brien decided to trade DeAndre Hopkins. It all started going downhill from there. You know, with J.J. Watt leaving, Deshaun asking for a trade, the things happening with Deshaun Watson. They're benching Deshaun. It's official that Tyrod Taylor is QB1 for the Houston Texans. Well, I do like Tyrod Taylor. I do indeed like Tyrod Taylor. I think that he's a very talented quarterback. He just constantly gets hurt, and rookies show him up and take his job. I think that there's just not going to be the spark with the Houston Texans. It's going to be very strange. And I believe Romeo Crennel is still the coach, and he's a much older man. I think he's in his 70s. So I think that the whole just vibe coming from Houston is just not working. So, like I said, best week 1 opponent Jacksonville could ask for, with Trevor Lawrence coming out here in his first game in the regular season. Wasn't the best in preseason. I don't know. I mean, he wasn't horrible, but he really didn't show me that oomph, that Trevor Lawrence Clemson oomph that we saw when he was in college. I mean, very different. People came at me when we did our draft show. Me, Andy, Tom, and Hank did our draft show, and I was like, listen, Trevor Lawrence is great, but this is the NFL, it's not college. And a lot of people were just like, how could you say that? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, because it's true. I'm not saying that I think Trevor Lawrence is going to do bad in the NFL. I'm just saying the NFL is not college football. So, you know, people are they just have a big stick up their butt, but that's beside the point. People are going to overhype this a little bit, especially if Jacksonville wins that thing that they're going to be like, oh my God, Trevor Lawrence is here. He's going to win all these games for Jacksonville. But we have to remember, keep in mind, this is Houston that they're playing. Okay. That's Houston. What else do I got here? I think that this is going to be great for Trevor Lawrence because it's going to boost his morale. It's going to boost his confidence. Again, great. And that's why I think it's a good opponent for him. But the media, I think, is going to overhype it and be like, oh my God, this is great. Trevor is great. He's the best. Jacksonville's going to the Super Bowl. Like, the people are going to drive it out of proportion because that's what the media does. And I don't want Trevor Lawrence to think that he is invincible now because he won one NFL game, which I don't think he will, but that's just what's going on in my head. Again, not much else to say about this game other than Trevor Lawrence's performance, and that his preseason games were not spectacular. They were okay, but not spectacular. But it'll definitely be interesting to see how he performs against the roster, the 53-man roster, this stronger defense. I don't know if Houston's defense is going to completely demolish him. They've lost J.J. Watt. However, Houston can dream, I suppose. So that's what I got for Jacksonville at Houston. Next on the list here, we have Eagles at Falcons. Birds, and more birds. And again, people will say you're being biased because you're a Giants fan. I genuinely think the Eagles are not going to be spectacular this year. The Falcons either, but I have the Falcons beating the Eagles 28-17. The Falcons have their debut of Kyle Pitts in this, and even though they've lost Julio, they still have Calvin Ridley. And Matt Ryan, people push down on Matt Ryan for several different reasons, but the guy I still think has just got a little bit more football in him. Just a tad bit. He's right there. He can still perform, and now he's got this brand new, young, talented tight end in Kyle Pitts, and this offense is still going to be something strong. And they got Josh Rosen now, who we've all know that I am just like, Josh Rosen is in the best position. He played a preseason game. I don't think he did the best, but he's there. The Eagles have a lot of growing pains. They have a new quarterback with Jalen Hurts, who they finally named QB1. They have a new coach with Nick Sirianni, who's very young. They have a new wide receiver in Devonta Smith. Things are moving and there are growing pains, and that's just the way that rebuilding teams are. I hate the rebuilding word, but that's what they're doing. The Eagles CBs really have to make sure that they keep on top of this Falcons offense. Darius Slay and the rookie Asante Samuel, really important for the Eagles to do that, but I think that since they're coming out and they're away from home, they're going to be in Atlanta, it's just going to be a rough start for the Eagles, and that's why I have the Falcons winning over the Eagles 28-17. Next on the list here, we have Chargers at Washington, and while it pained me to make this pick, it really, really did, I am going Washington over the Chargers, but it's going to be close. It is going to be very close. I'm going 24-21. I want to pick the Chargers because I have a lot of faith in Justin Herbert. I think he's a very talented quarterback. I think he is spectacular and amazing and wonderful, and I could go on and on and on. The man literally had me buy a Chargers hat. I have never paid attention to the Chargers in my life until Justin Herbert came along. So I have faith in him. I have faith in Keenan Allen. And I have faith in this offense, but they have a new coach. And like I said with the Eagles right before this, there are growing pains. And they're going to be coming off a little rough because this is a very, very talented defense. With Chase Young still in the mix here, Washington is going to put a lot of pressure on this offense and a lot of pressure on Justin Herbert, who I think will still perform well. But it's a tough defense to go into week 1. And Ryan Fitzpatrick is the starting quarterback for Washington. So what I think is going to happen here is what a lot of things, the pattern here with Ryan Fitzpatrick is he starts real good in the beginning of the season and slowly diminishes throughout the year. And he's much older now. He's been around. The man has been in this league for years and years. So he starts off real hot in the beginning of the season and then slowly declines. So he's coming out rested and ready to go week 1. He's going to put on a show for Washington, and that's why I think Washington is going to win. But I think that this loss will be good for the Chargers because it's going to wake them up. They're going to be ready to go for the next week. This is going to be just a quick little game to just get all the bumps, bruises, and nerves out, and then they're going to just dominate. I am so excited to watch the Chargers this year. I think they're going to be a lot better than people are thinking they are, and it's just going to be fantastic to watch because Justin Herbert is a force to be reckoned with, to be quite honest with you. I'm just so freaking excited. It's going to be great, but I am picking Washington in this game. Next, we have Steelers at Bills. And while my brother's probably going to hate me because he's a Steelers fan, I am going Bills all the way until the end of the year. You will hear me for this entire football season constantly talk about the Bills. I am obsessed with the Bills, to be quite honest with you. So I have the Bills winning 21-10. The Steelers defense, they're working out things right now with TJ Watt. Apparently there's some discrepancies and they need to deal with his contract and things like that. They're saying that it's supposed to be done by Sunday, so he'll be in the mix. But the Steelers defense will be a bit tough to deal with. But the thing is that I don't know if the Steelers offense will be able to put points on the board to win this game. With Najee Harris in the backfield, I'm excited to see their run game get better. It's going to be really, really great to see Najee Harris play. Big Ben, though, I just don't know if this offense is going to be spectacular. I think that the defense is going to win a lot of games for them and make sure that points do not get put on the board by the opposite team. But in this case, the Bills, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, the whole shebang, they are going to just come out with such force. I have so much faith in Josh Allen. And Sean McDermott is an excellent coach. Sean McDermott is a really great coach, and that's why, you guys have heard me talk about how I think the Bills are going to go to the Super Bowl this year. If you haven't, there you go. My Super Bowl prediction is Bills-Bucks. So I am just really excited for the Bills this year. I'm interested to see how Ben Roethlisberger performs because of the injuries and everything. I thought he should have retired last year, but that's just me. I think this is his last year for sure. So he's going to try his best. He's going to make sure that he puts on the best performance he can. I just don't think it's going to be that fantastic. But we will see. We will see with the Steelers and the Bills. But you heard it here first, people. I'm going to be on the Bills train until the wheels fall off. I've been saying that since last year. Bills going to the Super Bowl. And that is that. Okay. Next on the list here, we have 49ers at Lions. I think that this is a pretty obvious choice. We are going 49ers over Lions with the final score of 27-10. They're going to obliterate them. I don't even know if the Lions are going to put this much points on the board. I'm trying to be a little bit generous, but I just don't know if that's going to be the case. Jared Goff, I think, is at the same, they are literally 1 and 2 in their draft, the same level as Carson Wentz. Like, they're right there to be, like, in the discussions to be good quarterbacks because, well, one of them halfway made it to a Super Bowl and then his backup came in and won it for them. But he was, part of the reason why they made it as far as they did. And Jared Goff didn't go to a Super Bowl. He didn't score no points, but he was there. He was present for the game. So I think that is like that same level that people are talking about, like, well, they're good quarter. And then, like, they are, but, like, they're not spectacular. And with a new coach in Dan Campbell and this entire team just growing, they lost Kenny Golladay to the Giants. It's just the Lions are just not going to be any sort of scary, I think, at all. And the 49ers will be. The 49ers are healthy. They got George Kittle back. They have Nick Bosa back. They have Jimmy Garoppolo back. It is going to be very, very, very different. Plus, this defense knows Goff. Goff used to play for the Rams, and they were in the same division. So this 49ers defense is very familiar with the way that Jared Goff moves. They're not familiar with the entire Lions team, but Jared Goff, personally, they know him. So I think that that's going to be an advantage. And the only other thing here that I'm excited to see is that the Detroit's offensive line is very young and growing, and they got Penei Sewell, who I wanted to go to the Cincinnati Bengals. However, that didn't happen because they had to get Jamar Chase for Joey B. They had to do that, which really made me upset. You can't throw it to Jamar Chase if you're on the ground, Joey. Besides the point, I love you, Joe. I'm sorry. I do. I love you, Joe Burrow, but that's just how I feel. So Penei Sewell is on this offensive line, and again, Coach Campbell can say what he wants. He can talk about biting off kneecaps all he wants, but I don't think they'll be biting the kneecaps off of the 49ers here. That's just my thought. Speaking of Joey B, we have the Vikings at the Bengals, and a lot of people are picking the Vikings to win here, but even though I just said all of these things against the Bengals, I'm going to pick the Bengals, because why not? Close game, though, 27-24. Joe Burrow is coming back from this injury, but he is so ready to play. Like, he did not get to finish out his freshman year. He is so ready to prove to everyone that he is still worth that number 1 pick, and he is fantastic and amazing. And even, I will say, it's not great that they didn't work on their offensive line in the first round of the draft, but with Jamar Chase there, I'm sure Joe feels really comfortable, and he feels like his friends there, and he's familiar with them, whether they both went to LSU. It works for him. Hopefully their offensive line has gotten better, though, because like I said, you can't be throwing to Jamar down the field if you're on the ground. So that is the main concern I have. The thing with the Vikings is I think they're kind of at the same level as the Seahawks. They're not bad, but they're not like what they used to be. There's not a lot of changes happening. It's going to be tight. I think Dalvin Cook is going to be important to this game. He's going to put a lot of yards on the board, yards on the field rather, and points on the board. Kirk Cousins has been like weird for like the past 2 years. So this was a kind of a difficult choice to make, but I am going to go with the Bengals here. Hopefully their offensive line works out for them. Next on the list, we have, a revenge game. Yes, Jets at Panthers. I just realized I did not put a score down for this, so let's just see. I have the Panthers winning this game, but by how much? Let's go with, 21-17. We'll keep it tight, right? Let's keep it tight. Obviously, revenge game. Sam Darnold left New York, went to the Panthers. Now the Jets have Zach Wilson as their starting quarterback. It's going to be very interesting. The Panthers need to make sure that Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, because if he stays healthy, he will be one of the main reasons that they put points on the board this year. I mean, he is the number one fantasy player, I think, that he puts like the most points on the board. I'm just throwing what I found out in my first year of fantasy football, which I'll give you guys an update on that last week on whether I won this weekend or not. But yeah, so that's going to be the main thing here. I'm excited to see Sam Darnold perform with a different team because I think he has a crap ton of potential. I think he has so much potential, and I think Matt Rule knows that potential, and he's going to use it to his benefit. They just paid Robbie Anderson, another previous Jet, so again, Sam is comfortable with that. So I think that they wouldn't have paid him that much money if he was not fantastic. So that's going to be another thing. That the Panthers' offense is very important. The Jets are there. I think that they are right there to be a good team. But going into week 1 of the regular season with, again, growing pains, I'm going to keep using that phrase, they will have a bit of growing pains with their new coach, their new quarterback, working with one another. But they have their new pieces, and I think they're like right there. I think they're starting to close together to finish this puzzle. I just don't think they're going to win their first game ever. If they do, though, that's going to be very, very interesting. That if the Panthers lose to the Jets, we will have a whole different thought process when that happens. So yeah, so I'm going to go Panthers 21-17, keeping it tight. Next on the list, we have Cardinals at Titans, which I think is going to be one of the better games of the entire weekend. Again, a very difficult choice for me to make, but I ended up going with the Titans over the Cardinals, 30-27. This is going to be such a great game. The Titans, oh my lord, it's going to be outstanding with their new offense. Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, amazing offense they have here. Ryan Tannehill has shown that he is a very, very solid quarterback to have, especially when you have an amazing amount of weapons around you, including Julio into the mix here. They are going to be a force to be reckoned with, but they will have to go up against the Cardinals defense, and that's going to include Mr. J.J. Watt, who is now on this team, and Chandler Jones and Budda Baker in the secondary, so it's going to be so good. The Cardinals, I think that a lot of people are, like, underwhelming. I am, like, all in on the Cardinals, especially, like, with D-Hop there and Kyler Murray growing in this team and getting better and better, and with this solid defense that they can rely on to help them out on the other side of the ball. It's going to be great. I'm ready to see DeAndre Hopkins play once again in this. It's just going to be absolutely just wonderfully beautiful. I'm very, very excited for this game. But again, high scoring and very close, and that's why I'm having 30-27, but with the Titans winning. 6 more games to go here. We have Browns at Chiefs, which any other year would have been Chiefs for sure, like no questions asked. I will still be picking the Chiefs, but the Browns have a lot of faith. A lot of people are putting their eggs in the Browns basket, I guess. That's a really bad analogy, but they're contenders now. They're talking about the Browns even winning their division, which you'll hear who I think is winning the AFC North on my division winning video, which will be out later this week. Again, subscribe to the Girl Who Talks Sports YouTube channel. So I have the Chiefs winning this game 31-24. The Browns definitely want to continue to prove that they're contenders, and it'll be very important if they have good performance against the Chiefs. However, the Chiefs are mad. The Chiefs are really angry that they just had to lose to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, and they're just like really just not happy about it. And they worked on their offensive line that 100% needed help with. They got Orlando Brown in the offseason. They are coming back with a vengeance. So I am slightly afraid of the Chiefs this year, but they will definitely still have their few things that they'll need to work out. Last year, the Browns actually almost beat them. Patrick Mahomes went down in that game, and Chad Henne came in, and it made it a game. So they were very, very close, but ended up losing to the Chiefs. And yeah, again, I think the Browns are good. You know me, I love Baker Mayfield. I can say I have Nick Chubb on my fantasy team, like he's my RB1. So I'm also really feeling the Browns this year. I think they're going to put up a lot of a fight, especially after their performance last year into the playoffs and everything. Just really fantastic. However, the Browns in the last few years haven't been the best with their season openers. So I'm still under the impression that it's going to be rough, especially playing one of the best teams in the league. But it would be wild if they upset the Chiefs week 1. The Browns beating the Chiefs week 1, that would put their name on the map 100%. People would be changing everything left, right, and center. Like, oh my God, the Browns are winning the Super Bowl. Oh my God, oh my God. Again, exaggerating in the media. But I do still have the Chiefs winning 31-24. The next game we have here, we have Dolphins at Patriots. Division rivals week 1 here with 2 Alabama quarterbacks going head-to-head with Mac Jones and Tua Tagovailoa, which I must share with you all. I found out some very interesting information about Mac Jones this past week. His middle name is McCorkle. And that's why he goes by Mac. His name is Michael McCorkle Jones, and he goes by Mac Jones. So I will now only be referring to him as McCorkle Jones. So McCorkle Jones is making his debut as the Patriots QB1 after last week's big explosion with Cam Newton getting cut by the New England Patriots. The Dolphins defense is going to be a very interesting competition with the Patriots offense this week 1 because the Dolphins defense is one of the best in the entire league, especially with Brian Flores continuing to be their head coach, who, is a Belichick disciple, as many of us know. He used to be on the Patriots as their DC, but this is going to be interesting to see how Mac Jones plays against such a good defense with the Dolphins. They're coming back with force. The Patriots are going to try their hardest to be that Patriots team that everybody knew beforehand, before Tom Brady left, but I don't know if they're going to be as good as they are. Tua, I'm a little concerned about after last year because they went back and forth with Ryan Fitzpatrick and him being the QB1. He never really knew. And now that he is QB1, he doesn't have the Fitzy safety net anymore. He doesn't have that to lay back on. So it's going to be a little bit scary for Tua to have nobody to come in to save you when you've almost lost your game. So I think that's going to be important, which is why I have the Patriots beating the Dolphins 21-14 overall. But it'll be an interesting game, I think. And we'll see how McCorkle plays in the regular season because everybody wanted him to play. They all were like, Mac Jones, and Cam Newton was out of there, and they were like, here comes Mac Jones. I'd like to see him play first. We are getting down to the wire here, people. Only 4 more games to go over. My team, the Giants. Broncos at Giants. Again, you might say that I am being biased, but I think the Giants are going to win this game. And it's going to be low scoring, 17-14. Teddy Bridgewater is starting for Denver, and I think that made them a lot better without having Drew Lock there. If Drew Lock was starting, I would have been like, yeah, Giants all the way. I think a lot of people would consider the Giants winning this game. But Teddy Bridgewater is a talented quarterback, so I just don't know if he has all the pieces he needs to be the talented quarterback he was like when he was on the Saints. Very different team. So that's why I think the Giants will end up winning with a game-winning field goal. Graham Gano, you're there for me, buddy. I feel you. The Denver secondary, however, is ranked number 1 by Pro Football Focus. So that is going to be very, very important for the Giants to make sure because they have a much more talented offense now. Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, Saquon's coming back. Daniel Jones is in his years now. He's getting a little bit better. He's making his way through the NFL, growing each year that he is here on this team. And it's just going to be... Oh, Kyle Rudolph. How could I forget Kyle Rudolph, our tight end? Evan Ingram is injured. Thank goodness he's not going to be playing. It kind of makes me feel a little bit better about it. But besides the point, I think the Giants have all the pieces. They're ready to bring the heat. Daniel Jones is ready to prove a lot of haters wrong. And I think that this is a solid way to start off the year. A team that can be really good, but I just don't think that they're there yet. Denver is just not the team they were, obviously, back in 2016. So it's going to be the Giants that end up winning this game. And am I slightly biased? Maybe, but I genuinely think that. I genuinely think the Giants will be coming out week 1 with a very strong heated force to win this game over the Broncos. Next on the list, we have Packers at Saints. This is going to be an interesting game. I have the Packers winning. I have the Packers winning 28-21. This will be interesting because of the Saints. Now, the Saints, it's shout out to everybody who has been just devastated by this hurricane down south. I mean, we got hit with it as well. Not nearly as bad. There has been some flooding and people have lost some of their homes, but in New Orleans, it has just been horrible. So they are going to be playing... I forget if they're playing at AT&T Stadium, possibly, where the Cowboys play, but they are going to kind of be in a different headspace. They're not going to be in their home stadium. It's going to be very different. So, but obviously the Packers coming back, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Robert Tonyan, Alan Lazard. It's just going to be just full force. Aaron is back. He's ready to dominate. He's just ready to just go all over the place. Aaron is so ready to go. Jameis Winston was the right choice, and you guys heard me say a couple weeks ago on the podcast why I thought Jameis Winston was the correct QB1 choice for the Saints. We will see if this will be worth it for them. I don't think it was the wrong choice to pick him. Taysom Hill is not a starting quarterback, but they will not have Michael Thomas. He's on the PUP list. So, and he's going to be out for a few weeks. So it's definitely going to be rough for the Saints, and they're going up a rough competition their first week. But it'll definitely be interesting to see how they perform against such a strong team, and hopefully the Packers have worked on their defense from last year, because the defense last year was just not the best. Aaron was literally putting enough points on the board to win these games. So they're going to have someone like Marquez Callaway having to step up, and he did in the preseason. He did fairly well in the preseason, but this game in and of itself would have been a very different starting week 1 team if Drew Brees was still there, but with him not there, it's a very different Saints team, and I'm very interested to see how this plays out. But I do have the Packers winning 28-21. And we have two games left here. We have Bears at Rams. And I'm so sorry to my friend Andy, who is a Bears fan, but I do have the Rams winning 28-17, which is going to call more and more people to have Justin Fields be the starter instead of Andy Dalton. But I have made the case to why Andy Dalton should remain the starter here and have Justin Fields acclimate himself to the league a little bit more. But a lot of people are forgetting that Nick Foles is still there. If something happens to Andy Dalton, it is very possible they do not put Justin Fields in. It is very possible they put Nick Foles in. So this whole QB situation in Chicago is very interesting. Matt Stafford, who is now the starting quarterback for the LA Rams, has played against the Bears many a times, as his entire career has been with the Lions. I am very interested to watch the Rams play because people are putting them in the Super Bowl because Matt Stafford is there and all of this stuff. And while I think the Rams are going to be a great team, they have a fantastic offense, they have a fantastic defense with Aaron Donald. Like, it's going to be fantastic. I am very skeptical. I want to see how Stafford performs. I want to see it with my own two eyes, and when I see them doing well, I will say, yes, I get it. I will understand everybody's predictions, but I want to visualize him playing a regular NFL Week 1 game against the Bears, who have a stellar defense, I must add. So they have, and they even have Deshaun Jackson on their offense now, with the Rams do. So that's an interesting addition to that. That's just what I'm thinking here. The Rams are going to be good. I just want to see it. I want to see it with my eyes. The Bears can also be good, but a lot of people will call for Andy Dalton to no longer be the starting quarterback, but that's not up to us, is it? That is up to Matt Nagy and Pace, of the GM of the Bears. So it'll be interesting, but I don't see the Bears winning, especially going up against Aaron Donald. So 28-17 Rams. And finally, we have our Monday night football game. Ravens at Raiders at that $2 billion stadium. Allegiant Stadium will finally have fans there, I believe. I think so. They didn't have any fans last year, so the Ravens are going into a very high intensity situation here going into this stadium. However, I do have the Ravens beating the Raiders 21-17. The Ravens are right there again. They have been playing for a long time to get a better spot in the playoffs. I mean, Lamar Jackson keeps bringing them there, and he keeps choking in the playoffs. And it's unfortunate because Lamar Jackson is a very talented quarterback, but Lamar is still Lamar, and I think that he's going to do great. The only problem is they have lost J.K. Dobbins, their running back, which I'm afraid is going to make Lamar want to run more, which obviously means it is more possible that he gets injured. It's a whole array of different things that can happen here, but I still think that the Ravens are going to end up winning. The Raiders do have a strong team. They have Kenyon Drake as an addition to their backfield with Josh Jacobs, so that's going to increase their run game. Derek Carr is still there. Again, not a bad quarterback, but I don't think he'll be able to keep up with this Ravens defense, which is part of the reason why I have the Ravens here. And that is every single game for NFL Week 1. Oh my God, I'm so stoked. This is going to be great. I'm excited to see how I do. I will definitely keep track to see how well I am choosing games. But I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident in myself. I'm pretty confident in these teams. And I'm excited to do my video on the division winners because I think that's also going to be very telling. Again, make sure to check out that video when it comes out later this week. But since I've been rambling on for 45 minutes about the NFL, I want to get into our interview with Brenda. I hope that you guys enjoy it. Again, she is a photographer for a women's professional football team, so I'm excited to hear her point of view of everything and how she feels working for the women's professional football team, so on and so forth. Before we get into our interview with Brenda, we are going to do a quick little word from Instacart, but right after that, we will get right into it. Imagine it was possible that local fresh groceries could be delivered right to your front door. You would have so much free time, you could listen to more of the Girl Who Talks Sports. Instacart gives you unlimited grocery delivery for one low monthly fee. Better than what those other guys who nickel and dime you do whenever you use their app. Instacart can deliver to your front door in as little as 1 hour. You're not even tied down to one store. You can shop multiple stores, find deals in your area to save some money, and shoppers hand select your items based on your preferences. So don't worry, they'll keep your gentle items like your eggs safe too. To start your 14-day free trial, click the link in the show notes so Instacart knows that you were sent by me, the girl who talks sports. And this also helps to support our show. Instacart. Never step foot in a grocery store again. All right, everyone, welcome back. I'm so excited for our interview this week. Brenda Ingargiola is here with us, and I'm very excited to talk to you, Brenda, because you are a photographer for a women's professional football team, the Las Vegas Silver Stars. So I'm really excited to hear all about that, but thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on today. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So why don't you kind of like introduce yourself and kind of explain how you got into the profession of being a photographer?
Well, as you mentioned, my name is Brenda Ingargiola, and I'm originally from California. I grew up in California. And I've always had a passion for photography, but I've never thought I would enjoy it and love it so much. And actually, me and my wife were in bed and we were going through our wedding pictures and we were, talking about, our future and so excited, that we were here in Vegas. And as we were going through our pictures, I was telling my wife, hey, I wish I had more photos of you playing football in Colorado, because we don't have any photos. We don't have, videos, the internet is so big now that there's more opportunities out there. So you know, was actually the first or second week of her practicing with the Silver Stars. And I told her, hey, we were still in bed, and I told her, hey, I think I'm just going to take the camera to practice and, take some pictures of you. I want to be able to show our future children, what an amazing athlete their mom was. I want to have evidence. I want to show them. I want to, video something. So I said, hey, I'm just going to take it. I'm going to, take a couple shots of you, at practice, and then I'll just take it to the games. That way we start creating an album for her, and she's like, yeah, of course. So the next day, we actually went to practice, and I always go with her to practice into the games. So I was out there taking photos, kind of trying to be sneaky, not being in their way and stuff like that. And at the end of the practice, Carrie Walters, which is the owner, the coach, and a player as well of the Silver Stars, came up to me and she said, hey, would you just like to be our photographer? And I was like, me? Little me? And she's like, I was like, absolutely, I will try my best. And she's like, yeah, we're looking for a photographer, and we need one for the season. And I said, absolutely. I was in shock, but I was super excited. And ever since then, I've been blessed. I feel like I've been blessed being able not only to travel with my wife, I fell in love with a woman that loves to play football, and that love for the sport, brought also my passion, and brought out in me what we can do. And not only I do it now for my wife, but I'm able to do it for the rest of the team, for the rest of the athletes on the team. And I had an opportunity to also do it for the WNFC. I got the chance to go to the all Adidas All Pro game and also shoot a championship. So I got to meet more athletes from all across the US, and, it was an amazing experience. So I've just been blessed. My duties here at this, being a photographer is just getting the best place,
Yeah.
making sure that they have content, making sure that, I show the world what I see every time I step on the field with the girls. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing just being here and being with them in their
That's
journey.
that's so awesome. So tell me a bit about your wife. So what position does she play, and like, what is it like to watch your wife play, a sport that everybody has predominantly seen as male before?
I mean, it's a lot of emotions to see her play.
Mhm.
She plays tight end, she plays fullback, and she plays punter.
Oh wow.
Um, so it's a lot of emotions at one. I feel
Mhm.
proud, it's an excitement, but at the same time, I feel scared, because it is a physical sport.
Yeah.
And the contact and all that comes with it. I do feel sometimes scared because she's my wife and I want to make sure she's okay and I want to put her in a bubble, you know.
Right.
But it's just seeing her play and seeing her do what she loves to do and kill it. I just be running with the camera across the field and that's my wife. Just screaming and being so proud of her. So it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. Yeah, I'm scared a little bit here and there, but I trust that, she knows the game and she's learning every day. And yeah.
Was she already playing football when you met her, or did she pursue it after you guys were together? Like, how did she get involved in it?
She actually was already playing when I met her. We met in Colorado. She's originally from Colorado. And I moved up there when I was 25. Oops, shouldn't say my age. um, I moved up there when I was a couple years ago, and that's where we met. And she was already playing for a Colorado team.
Okay.
She's very sporty. Her passion was basketball before football, and knowing that she loves the game. As a just in the NFL, athletes and just the game. She loves the football game. So having the opportunity that she had to be able to play, she took it. She
Yeah.
took it and she loved it. Ever since then, she loved it. And so when we moved up here, she was so excited to look for a team and be part of it again and start playing again.
So you as a photographer, you're watching these games and you're seeing how these women are playing against one another. What kind of differences do you see with a women's football team as opposed to, like, let's say an NFL team? Like, do you see like there's mo notable differences, or is it pretty much the same?
Yeah, there's a lot of differences. One first obviously is the pay, you know,
Right.
but obviously, the NFL, the caliber of play is the same. You have athletes in the WNFC and you have athletes in the NFL. The only difference is that the NFL has more exposure, and for that they have more opportunities to do bigger things. For example, us here in Vegas, we struggle to even get a field. You know, and for us to be able to have fans and to get to notice us, notice us that we are equally the same as
Mhm.
these athletes that play in the NFL. And all they need is a feel in the ball, a feel in the ball,
Right.
and give them a chance. And they'll be able to do it. So it's definitely a lot of differences. Other than there's athletes.
Hmm.
There's athletes playing in both leagues, and there's athletes passionate about the game.
Hmm.
And why not have the same opportunity? It's like I think about it as your mom playing out there, your sister, your aunt, your grandma. We have female athletes out here that are 55,
Wow.
killing it. Yeah, they're killing it out here. So to think about it, their grandmas, their aunts, they still go home, cook and clean and take care of their kids and go to school and, work a 9 to 5 and killing it
Right.
out here. And for them not to have the support that the NFL has, it's a little bit heartbreaking. You
Yeah.
know, I'm I want to share with you a story. I don't
Yeah.
want to say what event I was in,
Okay.
but when I'm at events, I like to meet people. I like to introduce myself and I like to know their story, and where they come
Yeah.
from. And so I was just walking around and I came across a couple of young men. And I was thanking them for being there and, for supporting women's football, and, asking them that, how long they've been here, supporting women's football and, just kind of see what they know about women's football.
Mhm.
And they were excited to be there and to support women's football. But when I mentioned, hey, you should also show some love on social media, show some love on social media, follow the WNC, follow the athletes here, and
Right.
just telling them a little bit about social media. And the first thing they said, no. And
Oh,
I was like, no, I was like, no.
yeah.
And they're like, no, we can't do that. And I said, can I ask why? Like, you can show like a follow, just some love, show some love because that's nowadays, that's how you get more exposure as well, through social media. And one of the guys said, I play college football and I don't know how serious this is or how deep it goes. This is my first time hearing about it. And he said, no, I played college football and per our contract or per something about the contract that
Right.
they couldn't show love or show interest or anything to a woman's
Huh.
football. And I didn't ask more because when I said that and when I started to just ask questions about it, they all backed out and they walked away.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was in shock because, I was that day at the event that I was so inspired by everything that was happening and all the people I met. And we had former NFL and players, and former teams that were started to support some of the teams, and showing love. So I was like, why can't they as well, And when they said no, I was just taken back and I was shocked and I was like, wait, is this actually a thing? Like, I'm now in the hunt to find out if this is actually a thing. Like, you cannot show love or like or something because you play football,
College football.
college football.
That
I'm
is so
confused.
weird.
So that just, thinking about it, and thinking about how they potentially could come up, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
and play in the NFL. And we are going to support you. Your mom is going to go see you play. Your aunt is going to go see you play. You might have other girl fans that are going to go see you play, but you cannot show love back.
Wow.
It was just mind blowing to me. I was surprised, surprised. And I still don't understand. And I guess it's I'm in the hunt to try to find out
Right.
why they said that.
I have never heard anything like
Yeah.
that before. That is so interesting. I know like there was, I mean, within the NCAA, like they are very particular about things, especially with like, before the bill came out about them being able to
Mm-hmm.
be sponsored by things. I'd never heard anything that they can't follow a certain team on social media. That is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What's
Yeah.
also interesting is you just said you had a hard time finding a field in Las
Mm-hmm.
Vegas, and the NFL recently just moved their team, the Raiders, to Las Vegas and just spent $2 billion on a brand new stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So that just goes to show the two different sides here, which is
Mm-hmm.
so crazy to think about. But I think, what do you think is the best way to kind of like get people to know more about this league? Like, how do we kind of spread awareness about this and get more people to show love on social media or go to games or, things like that?
If you love to watch football, you're gonna love to watch these women play.
Right.
You're gonna love it. Like, it's so intense. I've been to a football game, to a real football game,
Mhm.
and I'm sitting, all the way in the top, and I'm trying to catch the play, and it's fun, but being front and center of your local team, women that women that you work with, women that you don't know if she's the one assisting you in the hospital. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't know if she's assisting you at the grocery store, and for you to come and show love would mean the world to them. But what I think that more people can do is honestly just watch and start following them. Start learning about the WNFC and start learning about the local women's football team in your city. You
Mhm.
know, if you start doing that, you're honestly gonna fall in love with them as much as you fall in love with the NFL.
Yeah.
It's out there. It's a willpower as well. If you're willing to do it and take the chance on the team,
Hmm.
then you're not going to have no regrets. This is the time to jump in on the WNSC football train.
Right.
This is the time, and this is the time to give them momentum. And, if you have a daughter out there, if you have a best friend, if you have anybody out there, wouldn't you want to be out there supporting them? Wouldn't you be out there? Imagine if it was like, okay, my mom could throw the chancla so fast that I know that she would be able to be a really good football player, you know? So just thinking about it, like, I'm sorry,
It's
just
okay.
thinking about it, if my mom was out there playing, like, she would kill it. And I would be so happy to, be out there cheering her on. So I would honestly just think about that, think about it being somebody close to you, think about it being about your sister, your
Yeah.
aunt, your cousin, somebody like that. And I mean, just thinking about my mom during the chancla, I know, like I said, she would kill it, So I just think about that, you know,
Absolutely. Yeah,
and
it's so crazy to think about that. Like that there's
mhm,
like all these people out there that if they were able to play football, they would. I know like
mhm.
if I had the opportunity to play football, I would. Because it just seems so fun. But there's
Oh,
not
come
always
join
that
us.
opportunity.
Come join us. Yeah.
I'm not as athletic as I used to be in college, in high school. So I don't know if I'd be able to do it.
Hey, no worries. Everybody starts somewhere, You don't have to have the experience. That's one of the things that I'm also athletic. I grew up playing soccer. I grew up in a soccer field. My dad is a soccer coach, and coming here to, their football practices and learning about football. I knew about football, but I didn't know this much, and just knowing about it and seeing them and all the sweats, all the sweat, all the tears, all the emotions, all the anger, all the anxiety, everything that they share at practice in the field,
Mhm.
you can tell how it brings them closer together, how is a family orientated place to be, because they also bring their children to practice. They don't have babysitters, they don't have a private babysitter or somebody that's going to do their errands. They bring their children to practice, and it's super cute because you see them and they're stretching and the children are also stretching or they're
Oh,
mimicking everything that they're doing. So it's just been amazing. It's been amazing being with the team, and I wish that people would give it give it a chance. Give it a
yeah.
chance. I wish that they would give it a chance because now there's more ways to also watch games from the WNSC. We have Fire TV, and they're out there. They're supporting us as well. So shout out to them. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of ways that you can support. If you can make it locally, watch it. And show some love. Hey, yeah, we're watching it today. So yeah, I think they just have to give it a chance.
Absolutely. I kind of want to talk a little bit more about you and your photographing. So you were saying that like, you're on the field, you're in the mix of it during games. What is some of like your favorite things? Like say you're in the middle of a game, you're photographing plays, big plays, touchdowns. Like what are some of your favorite things to kind of catch like when they're in the moment as a photographer for a team that's it's fast moving game. So,
Hmm.
what is your favorite things and what are kind of like your, the ways that you do it to make sure that you catch like these really amazing moments?
Practice.
Right.
It is I just practice and I learned to follow the ball. So following the ball and staying calm has been what I have learned that I need to do, because before when I was in Colorado, I used to record the games, but on the phone, just little plays here and there, which was not amazing. because I would be recording and screaming at the same time. Like something happens. So now that I'm
Yeah.
taking photos, I've learned to get into the game as well, because you can't help it,
Right.
because obviously I need to know what's going on and follow the ball, but also stay calm. And if I have to learn what's going on at practice for a certain play, so I know that if it's called on the field, I know who's going to do the big play
Right.
and be
Right.
able to get the big play. Again, I don't know all the plays, I don't know
Mhm.
big things, but if I hear it enough, or if I'm close enough to hear what the coaches are saying, and stuff like that, then I'll be able to catch, okay, this is coming, number
Yeah.
so and so is going to do this play, so I better catch her over here on this side,
Right.
So that's what has been one of the things that has helped me. And just literally run around the field, so I know that I am able to get every single player and that I'm able to get every single angle. And
Mhm.
I don't know what I capture on camera until I actually look at the pictures, because if I go back and look at one picture that I took, I'll be there looking at all the pictures,
Right.
it just and think that I haven't, just being a photographer, I want to look, so
Hmm.
at the end, when I going through the pictures and download all the pictures, and it's just, I'm like, oh wow, I caught this moment, and it looks so perfect, and it's just amazing to see the end product,
Right.
amazing to see, oh yes, I got it finally this time, this
Yeah.
time I finally got it. So it's that feeling from start to end, from knowing where they're going to go, what they're going to do, where they're going to move, and wanting to know if you actually got that shot, and knowing if you actually got the whole thing. Sometimes I'm able to get the whole play, and it's the most exciting thing to me, because I get play by play from where the ball, is hiked to all the way to the touchdown. So it's just those moments to be able to get it play by play. I mean, moment by moment. It's it's amazing. I'm like, so, and you can tell from the first time actually that I took a photograph here, last year, actually, a year ago, you can tell the difference from now. Even though I had a little bit of photography experience, not the best, but I always loved photography. And I can tell the difference between a whole year, the quality, just
Right.
even the angles. And, the more I feel like, the more I know about football and the more I learn about it, whether it's a new play or just anything, because there's always new things to learn, I feel like the better chances and opportunities I have on the field to get the best play for them as well.
Right. So basically, practice for them is like practice for you too. You need to,
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
and you're running around. You're just as staying in just as much shape because you have to run around the vicinity of the
Mm-hmm.
field. So so now that so if you're at practice, do you take pictures at practice as well, or just at
Mm-hmm.
games? So like,
No
what's the
practice.
difference between playing, taking pictures at practice versus at games, and then like when you're in a game, what is that atmosphere like? Like, you've said you've been to an NFL game and this game. Like, what is this like? What are you feeling when you see all the, if people come to the games to watch, and what is the atmosphere like there? And then also, like, what's the difference between practice and the games?
Um, well, practice obviously is, I feel like it's for education, at least for me. I feel like
Right.
practice is more educational, like
Mhm.
I'm in school, and I'm taking a course about not only photography, but football
Right.
photography, and so like I said, when they're at practice, I'm listening to the type of, because they, do it over and over and over and over again. So that gives me also an opportunity to do it over and over and over again. So I feel like that, at practice is more a learning experience, as of, okay, this is A, B, and C.
Hmm.
And, you have to execute A, B, and C. And I'm able to do A, B, and C from, the left side and the right side.
Hmm.
And then I can go home and check, okay, was the angle better on the left or the right side?
Right.
And so now when I go to the games, I'm able to see, okay, this play was better shot on the left side, so I make sure to run around and, sprint to the other side and make sure I get that left shot. But I
Mhm.
mean, I practice this more as like I said, a learning experience. And games is just excitement, so much excitement,
Yeah.
because they're in uniform, the fans are there, and I want to not only shoot the players, but the fans as well, because you can tell in their face, their excitement, their posters, they're starting, to get a little bit a bigger crowd now. So I'm excited for that. And I mean, just the energy, in the games is most definitely more energetic and, just out there. Between the NFL and the WNSC games, obviously, the audience, the stadium,
Right.
like I said, our first game here, it was actually just at the regular park. They
Oh.
had their game at the regular park, and the park, the field had like holes and there was stuff around it. And, we went a day earlier to pick up everything and the, glass and everything, so just the difference, in the opportunities that the NFL gets, versus the stadium that they new stadium that just got, beautiful, and the field and, everything exclusive for them,
Right.
versus, our team, was barely, got a field on a public park,
Right.
and even though we had fans and you felt like a real, big game, I still wish we had more fans and a better field, because, that could also lead to them getting hurt, but not playing in a good field, because the field they played had holes,
Mhm.
and so, yeah, I mean, it's the difference between taking shots, I would say now, in the NFC would be just the when I take a picture and they're in their games and I go back and I see the facial expression of when, you know, they either made a touchdown or they got tackled or just anything, it's like one picture is worth a million words,
Right.
and just to think of like, okay, I was able to get that same picture that an NFL player is able to get, but yet this picture doesn't receive the same love or the same credit, or nobody looks at this picture with the same emotion
Right.
that this player is having, whether it's a happy emotion, whether they made a touchdown, whether they got tackled, there's the emotion in that face, you can see it. And if I was to post the same picture as the NFL picture that somebody made a touchdown, and they're happy or got tackled and, it was a good tackle, or something, vice versa, they everybody's, oh yeah, claps and show a lot of love. And it's not the same here. It's not the same love. It's not appreciated the same. So
Mhm.
it's just that type of difference that I see and that I notice and that I wish they also had.
For sure. So, my last question for you here would be, do you think that this women's national football conference is something that can take off in the future? Do you think that if enough people start to really support it and really, show love on socials and watch it on TV and all that stuff, do you think that this conference could be, at this level that people watch college football, national football? Is that something that you think that in the near future can happen? And also, how can more and more people just keep on supporting so that it's something that maybe can happen?
I absolutely feel like this will eventually blow up, and it might take a little bit more time, unfortunately, but I do eventually feel that they will receive and be recognized for the
Mhm.
athletes that they are, and like I said, I just ask people to give them a chance, Give them a chance. Like I said, just you honestly, if you pretend that it's somebody in your family that's playing out there, you're
Right.
going to watch it and support it 100%.
Right.
Like imagine now little girls are getting now scholarships, for football flag. That's like amazing. And I've also seen, bad comments about that, about girls playing football flag and getting scholarships, and it's heartbreaking. So, you would never say those comments to your daughter. You would never say those comments to your mom if your mom was
Right.
playing out there. You know what I'm saying? So just have respect, have some level of respect for the athletes that are killing it out there and that can also do it too. Just because you're a man does not mean that we cannot do it. We can give birth, we can cook, we
Yep.
can also play, and we can also become athletes as well. So don't diminish us. Don't, you know, we are here to support you. We also love, NFL players and football teams,
Right.
so we want the same. We want the same. We want respect, and we just want to be given a chance. So I'd ask if you are willing to give your daughter and your mom and your sisters a chance, then you should definitely also give these athletes out here a chance, because if you play football, if you're in the NFL or college football, you know how tough it is. You know how tough it is
Yeah.
to be dedicated, to be there at work, excuse me, to be at practice every day,
Right.
and to make it to the games. Well, and now imagine that you have children and you don't have a babysitter. It's not easy. It's not easy. And, give them a chance. Give them a chance because they sacrifice so much, so much time. And, they're honestly real life superheroes out here. So just give them a chance. Give them a chance. And I think that you, like I said, you would fall in love with them and fall in love with the team. And I mean, if you really love football, why wouldn't you support women's football? It's
Yeah.
just, I, I, you know, a chance. That's all I asked, a chance.
Absolutely. I love that. It's so inspiring. I feel like I could go run through a brick wall right now. I'm like ready to go.
Don't do that, but come play football for us.
Well, Brenda, thank you so much for taking time out to tell everybody about what you do, what your wife does, what this team is, and everything with women's football. Why don't you let everyone know where they can find you on social media? Do any plugs that you'd like, whatever you'd like to throw out there to the people.
Sure, definitely. If you want to know more about the WNFC, definitely go ahead and follow WNFC football at Instagram and Facebook, as well as the Las Vegas Silver Stars. And if you want to follow me, you can most definitely follow me at Team Brenda on Instagram and Brenda Ingargiola on Facebook. Um, Show some love, learn about it. Even if you don't want to follow us yet, at least come and check out our page. There is WNFCfootball.com to learn about all the teams that are out there, and learn about the coaches, learn about their staffs, learn about, where they come from, where they've been, and where they're going. Because seriously, football, female is the future. And like I said, if you don't give us a chance, we're still going to come out. We're still going to come out. So I just get on board now, and follow us on Facebook, show us some love. Like I said, Las Vegas Silver Stars, they went from 0 to 6 previous seasons before to this year, killing it, and they were team of the year, so
Wow.
just coming up and, showing that they can do it, from last season to this season and this coming season. So show us some love, follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and yeah, be ready. And like I said, we're bringing it and super excited for this season.
Absolutely. Brenda, thank you again so much for coming on and talking about all this. This was great. Everybody, thank you guys for listening to another episode of The Girl Who Talks Sports. You can make sure to follow me on Twitter at TGWTS Podcast and on Instagram at The Girl Who Talks Sports. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and add a little thumbs up to the video. And if you're on podcast, make sure to subscribe, all of that good stuff. Everybody, I hope you all have a fun, fantastic sports-filled day, and I will see you guys all next week.